What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. Today we have What If Issei Was Deceived, part 6. I hope you guys liked the thumbnail from the last video because that was pretty sick. I'm not even going to cap to you. So yeah, let's try to hit 400 to 500 likes for this video. That'd be absolutely amazing for What If Issei Was Deceived part 6, I'm pretty sure. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Seriously, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been absolutely amazing. We just hit 44,000 subscribers by the time I'm looking at it as of right now. Once again, I'm recording this video about 4 days in advance because your boy is currently at school by the time this video will be out. And basically when it's premiering, I'll probably be at dinner at the cafeteria where I'm crying myself to sleep. So, yeah, this part's absolutely amazing as well. Now, without any further intrusions, go and thank my balance breakers / my Juggernaut Drive members: Aunt Lewis, Lachlan Yates, Jordan Patchow, Night Ammo, Refeek135, Ryan Monk, John Bame, Keep Saying 21, Undefined Truth, VR Wolf, Dark Phoenix, Zeki2000, Shen Beyond, Chaotic Raven, Jeffrey, Notatrax, Dr_MLG_ is the Bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, Jerry Vive, Soul Responder, Rob the King, and Zero Fusion. Thank you so much for becoming a Balance Breaker / Juggernaut Drive member. Seriously, can't thank you guys enough. Absolutely amazing. The support's been off the charts. On Ampalpowski, we are about to hit 74,000 subscribers. We're at 73,900. That's absolutely crazy to even think about. Some people also still assume that we're not the same person, which is actually hilarious. But anyway, if you guys want to see my reaction to HighSchool DxD episode 5 or 4, either one, I'm not sure at this point. I'm pretty sure 4 is already out. I think I'd have to react to 5. If not, once again, please somebody let me know. But anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead and thank my Patreon members: David Tanner, Ryuga, Lachlan Yates, The Black Dragon Emperor, Brendan Dawson, Stripelanger, Mark Bacon, Sharklock, Jay Dawson, Kevin Winsor, and Godkiller. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon member. It's really, it's great amount of support. I can't thank you guys enough. And without any further intrusion, ladies and gentlemen, I was about to say my outro. Let's go ahead and roll and do part 6. Chapter 18. The next step. Issei was in and out of consciousness for 3 days, using the promotions as hollow powers starting from the mask to fully hollow transformation in such a short time left him greatly fatigued. Every time his eyes closed, he would dream of her. "I'll wait for you," the woman says. Issei woke up and looked around. He was alone in his room. Sour Org was discharged, obviously, so he sat up. It was so quiet. He took a few deep breaths and started to stretch his body. His joints felt stiff. He cracked his fingers. He slowly got up out of his bed. His bones didn't want when he moved. "Looks like my bones have healed up," Issei says. He popped his wrists, elbows, shoulders, his back, his knees, and even his toes. "That felt good," Issei says. "Glad you're up. You've been out for 2 days," Drake says. "Only 2 days? Felt longer than that. Did I miss anything?" "Rias cuddled you after you were brought here," Drake says. "Glad I was passed out for that," Issei replies. "It's so unnatural for you to dislike that," Drake replies. "I don't dislike it. I just hate it when she does it." So what do you want to do now? You fulfilled your promise to Syro Org and made her become the champion of the rating game," Drake says. "I don't know. What do you want to do?" Maybe we should travel the world. You can teleport now, so there's no need to book flights or drive," Drake says. "True, but I'm thinking about buying a car. But first, I need to get my license. Imagine driving on the roads of Switzerland and Norway," Issei says. "I'd rather experience it, but shouldn't you find out who that woman is?" Drake says. "Oh yeah, she's still in the familiar forest. I'm going to check out. Then we can go to see Azazel. In case she's a threat, we can take her down. But I don't think that'll be necessary." "How can you tell?" "When I saw her in my dreams, I could see her memories, and I could see her fighting many who were the type cause of death and chaos. I really hope that they weren't illusions she put into my head." "Let's hope not. You smile when you see her." "I do?" "Yeah, it's a genuine smile. Not of lust, but that of love." Look at us. Talking about serious stuff almost daily, while prior to everything, we rarely did that. "A lot has changed." "Yes, and you've grown. However, Issei, in case she is a problem, what will you do?" Drake said. "What I must," Issei replies. He calls Azazel and tells him he wants to talk. He goes to his house after the doctor lets him go once X-ray shows that he's fine. So, now that you're free, what do you want to do? Azazel says, I'm thinking about telling Rosvisa, Grafia, and Sirzex the truth about her. Are you sure about that? Azazel replies, yes, but only them. I should go and see Ravel too. Thank you for her phoenix tears. Issei says, very well, Azazel replied. He sends a direct message, and within a few minutes they arrive. Issei greets them. Glad to see you're alright. Thanks. I asked you here to tell you something. Issei says, we got something to tell you as well. Grafia replied, you guys go first. Well, we decided to promote you to a high-class devil, Sirzex says. Rosvisa and Issei were surprised to say the least. Not only was it our decision, but the people saw how you beat Sour Org all on your own. He had the Nemean Lion on his side, and you beat him in the end, with powers that none have ever seen. Now, what did you want to say? Grafia said, thank you. Well, I overheard you guys what you told Sour Org. Our hollow's really that strong, Issei said. They looked at him in silence for a few seconds. We thought you were asleep. Does that mean you knew Rias was with you? Azazel said, thankfully I was out cold at that time. I was half awake when you guys were talking. Issei says, if she was here, then this would hurt her a bit. Sirzex says, well, she'll never have to worry about that. I told her that I don't want to be around her. I don't even want to be around her, and she won't hear so much as a peep of me about trying us to go back to the way things were. Issei said, well, Sirzex replied, uh-oh. What did she do this time? Issei says, I may have allowed her to try to reconcile under supervision, Sirzex says. He said sheepishly while scratching his head. Okay, but if she pisses me off, then I'm gone, or she's got me for good, Issei says. I gave her that exact condition. One question, though. Before you went full hollow, you yelled something along the lines of, I will protect the woman I love. What was that about, if not about Rias? Issei took a deep breath. That's what I wanted to tell you about. That hollow was still alive. She's waiting for me in the familiar forest, Issei says. Rosvisa, Grafia, and Sirzex let their jaws hit the floor. But I saw the blast. Wait, did you say she? They all said at the same time. Yes. She turned into a hollow like I did. Once I broke her mask, I saw who she really was. And what does she look like? Grafia replied. She, I think, is in her mid-20s, black hair, golden eyes, 9 white fox snowtails, drop-dead gorgeous, Issei said. They saw how he blushed unknowingly that he smiled, and she described her with such detail. He did leave out the part of her not wearing anything. Azazel was once again imagining her nude, but in reality, there's no way it could come close to her beauty. Issei continues to tell them once he looked into her eyes. He felt some sort of connection, and only grew stronger once he accepted his hollow side. How he saw her call out to him, or what it thinks in her memories, images of her, and her theory that she's from another universe. Why tell us all this now? Grafia said. Because I didn't know enough. Little knowledge in this dangerous thing, Issei said. Issei, she turned you into a hollow, Rosvisa replied. We don't know if she did that by choice. I managed to control my powers, but what if she simply lost control at the time? When I was turning into what you saw 3 days ago, I had the urge to hurt people, to cause chaos. Once I beat Sarorg, I took off the mask while I still had control, Issei says. That's why you looked upset, Sirzex says. Yes, I'm surprised that people cheered so suddenly when there was nothing but silence just before. What did they think was happening? The media hounded us for answers, but we didn't tell them anything yet. Don't know how long we can hold out, Grafia said. It's like World War Z out there, Azazel replied. Hey, did my parents really find out the truth about everything that day? Yeah, we told them everything, Rosvisa says. How'd they take it? Your mother cried, your father drank all the liquor in your room, so pretty well all things considering. After a while, they calmed down and had a hard look in the mirror, how they treated you and how they don't speak to Rias. I think they're waiting to go with your decision will be since your relationship with her is messed up, to put it mildly. They grew to love her as their own since they now are conflicted like you, but for different reasons. Spicer said, I don't want to see them go through that anymore. We can decide on that later, but right now I have a request. Issei says, name it. Grafia replied, I need you guys to come to the familiar forest with me. I'm going to try to convince her to come with us so we can get some answers. The connection we have make things difficult if things go south, Issei says. So you want us to stop in her case? She's a threat? Sirzex says, I don't know. If I have what it takes to kill her. Under the circumstances, I feel like a coward. Issei says, you're not being a coward. We would do the same if we were in your position. Do you know where she is waiting? In the familiar forest, right where we first met. I can feel her presence even now. Could you feel her presence before? Sirzex says, Yes, but not to this extent. Now I can pinpoint her exact location. We should leave tomorrow, Gravia said. Is it possible to go right now if you guys aren't busy? Issei, you just recovered. Shouldn't you rest? Roswitha says. Not a wise decision. When I talked to her telepathically, I told her to give me 4 days' time. This is day 3. She'll be expecting me to arrive tomorrow, but if we go now, then we have the element of surprise on our hands. Issei said. Not a bad idea at all. With 2 super devils, a Valkyrie, and me and the Red Dragon Emperor with ultimate class hollow powers, she can surrender if she doesn't want to fight and die, Azazel says. So what do you guys say? We can go another time if you're too busy. As if I'd sight idly by when someone as powerful as her runs around freely when her existence and motives are a secret. Let's go, Srzek says. I'll use these power to give her a taste of her own medicine just in case. Ready, Drake? Always, partner, Drake replied. Let's move out, Srzek says. Together they teleport to the forest. They keep some distance, stay hidden. Issei uses himself to bait to lure her out. If the connection is real, then she'll come to him. Issei stood in the open. True enough, a fox came out behind the trees and walked over to him. Issei recognized the fox. He remembers seeing the woman turn into it after he let her go. The others who were watching were still on alert. The fox came near Issei, and in puff smoke she turned into a gorgeous woman when he sees his dream. She's still wearing Issei's jacket. Hey, you came here early. I missed you, love, the woman said. She walked closer by Issei and backed away. She widened her eyes and stopped. What's wrong? Are you not happy to see me? The woman says. Just, who are you? Issei replied. Oh, right. Where are my manners? My name's Ari. And how do you already know my name? Issei says. Yes, I saw your memories as you saw mine, Ari said. Just how much did you say? Just glimpses of your battles, your comrades, and I can feel your heartache, too, Ari says. I have so many questions, Issei replied. She saw the sad look on his face. Issei, Ari said. She tried to come closer and touch his face, but she was suddenly bound by the magical vine sprouted from the ground. What? Issei, what's going on? Ari said. Issei's hands were shaking and he was gritting his teeth. Forgive me. I can't risk getting hurt again. Or let the others get hurt. I don't know you, Issei says. Ari was silent as she looked at him. She stopped struggling against the vines. She now knows that Issei's heartache is deeper wound. His heart is broken, but it's something she knows very well. I understand. You're hurting. I won't make things difficult, Ari said. Thank you, Miss Ari, Issei replied. Ari is just fine. You guys can come out now, Issei says. The others came out. Ari recognized Roswitha. Hey, I recognize you. You were here last time. I'm Ari. My name is Roswitha. Roswitha replies. I am Srzek's Lucifer, one of the Devil Kings, and this is my wife, Queen Gravia. Gravia bows and Ari bows as well. And I'm Azazel, a fallen angel. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Forgive me for asking, but I may ask, why am I bound by these vines, Ari said. Because you are powerful, we don't know where you come from, what your intentions are, and what you are, Srzek says. She looks like a kid today, Azazel says. A what? I'm the last of my kind, Ari says. Where are you from? I was from Ahona, Ari says. Was? Ari's ears pointed downwards. I was cast out of my home. I hurt a lot of people. What stopped you from doing that here? She looks at Issei. Because Issei is my knight in red armor and saved me. I owe him my life. I'll answer all questions and cooperate as long as I'm with him. Please? It's all I ask. They all look at each other. Why me? Issei says. Because you're my soulmate. You feel it too, don't you? How do I know that it's not a trick? We don't know what you're capable of, Issei says. I'll do anything to prove it to you. Just give me a chance, Ari says. What do you guys say? I have an idea. Graphius says, she can stay in Kyoto among everyone like her species. She'll be kept under a watchful eye. Graphius says, my species? I'm the last of my kind. Ari says, not in our world, my dear. If anything like them, then you'll fit in, Azazel said. She was astounded. There are others like me? Where am I? Exactly, Ari says. You're in the familiar forest currently. It's a part of the underworld where devils adopt unique creatures as their partners. They stay behind while the sidelines unless their pact is broken or death comes by one of them. The familiar obeys their master at all times unless they are treated poorly, Issei says. Do you have one? Ari asked. She asked Issei. Not yet. Well, can I be yours? Wait, what? You're kidding. Not in the least. As long as I'm with you, I have no issues, Ari said. Slow down, Ari. First things first. We don't know you or your motives. You claim to be peaceful, but we will be the judges of that, Issei says. We should contact Lady Yakuza and let her know what's going on. Let's hope she agrees, Azazel says. We'll personally escort you to Kyoto. Any resistance will result in injury or death. Ari saw her cold glare, and a chill went down her spine, all the way to her 9 tails. They went stiff. Yes, ma'am, Ari says. She soon knows how to make people submit. I get scared and aroused at the same time, Srzek says. Okay, so while you guys were talking, I contacted Lady Yakuza, and she says that she'll help. She's interested to know who Ari is, Azazel says. I hope we get time to shop, Rasfazel said in her own head. And that was the end of chapter 18. Chapter 19. Kyoto. Back at the Kyoto household, Rias was silent. Something bothering you, Rias? Akeno says. I found out what Issei was turning into. It's a hollow, Rias says. The thing that Hades has talked about, it's a long story. You guys need to take a seat, Azia said. They all sat down and began listening to Azia explain how hollows are. They had chills and they had cold sweat on their foreheads. You know about it, Zenovia says. Yes, so does Konako. We found out right after the match, and before that we... What? Kiba said. Issei only has 8 years to live. Gasper, Irina, Zenovia, Akeno, and Kiba felt the jolt go through them. But he had a century after the Juggernaut Drive. How? Hollows consume souls and life force of those who have even the slight amount of spiritual awareness, such as humans who can see ghosts, feel their presence, etc. Issei, like us, has a lot of that since he's a devil and a dragon. If it wasn't for that dragon side of his, then he would have been dead or out of control hollow, which would make the Reapers come for him, Konako said. After a minute of silence, Rias spoke. You know, Issei continues to help some of us despite how distant he is, Rias says. How so? Just look at Gasper. He helped him become quite the badass. I could tell that he was really proud of Gasper. He was? Yeah, when he was proud of you, we started to use your abilities. He would have that smirk on his face as he would tilt his head a bit. He did it after you beat your opponent in the rating game. Gasper smiled. And Konako started to talk more and more. None of us could help her, but he somehow got her to be more open, Rias says. Konako was just silent. Banks covered her eyes and frowned. What's wrong? I can't help him. I never could, Konako says. Regarding his life force energy, my sage arts were good enough. It was never working. I suggested bedroom arts, but he straight up refused because he doesn't want to give my first time to him out of necessity. I tried to convince him, but he'd made up his mind, Konako said. Just like how he refused me before he met Riser, Rias said to herself. It didn't work at all, Akeno replied. It was actually making the inner hollow take over as it absorbed my sage magic. I saw it happen myself, Konako said. How'd you guys find out about him only having 8 years? Irina said. Rias looked down and cried silently. There was an argument among us just before the final match, and he let it slip out. Konako said. He also said he doesn't love Rias anymore. I don't believe that, Rias says. They all stare at her. Irina, Azia, and Konako, you guys heard what he exclaimed during the fight. He still loves us. He's still in love with me, as I am with him. Who else could he be talking about when he said he won't let Sour Orc hurt the woman he loves? They all think about it. It's not any girl back at school. Is it Ravel? Doubt it. Maybe it really is Akia, Irina said. Konako tried not to vomit. Maybe it's Rosvisa sensei. He has a good relationship with her. No, she doesn't seem like that, Rias says. It has to be. We kissed a couple of times, made out, we saw each other at our best and our worst, and then again, maybe it was my fault that he was going through the worst. Oh, Issei, I miss you. Please get well soon. I know I can make things back up to you once you get back, Rias says to herself. I'm going back to check on him. I'll be back soon, Irina says. She spreads her grayish wings and teleports to the underworld. She flies to the medical facility near the stadium and finds his assigned medical room. She opens the door and sees an empty bed. Where'd he go? Irina said. She asked the medical staff. Excuse me? Where's the Red Dragon Emperor? Irina says. He was discharged hours ago, since he's fully recovered now. Okay, thank you, Irina says. She leaves and calls Rias. She told her that Issei was discharged hours ago. At the house, Rias conveyed the message to her barrage. Where'd he go? He didn't tell anyone? Akeno shook her head. None of us. Rosvisa isn't here, you guys. You don't think that. Do you think she's with him? What if they... Stop right there. Don't jump to conclusions, Akeno said. Right. Thank you, Akeno. Let's call Rosvisa or Issei. We can jump through dimensions, fight powerful beings that can destroy planets, teleport, and use magic, yet we can't seem to remember that we can also use that to contact people when we worry about them. Are we retarded? Kiba says to himself. Kiba mentally slapped himself as Akeno called Issei. Issei was en route to Kyoto along with the others. He received a call from Akeno and answered it. Hello? Issei, where are you? I'm having a drink with Azazel Sensei. We're celebrating victory, Issei says. You're celebrating without us? Well, we're just having a drink, to be honest, Issei replied. Not much of a celebration, Akeno said. It is for me. I have to go. Tell Rias congrats on winning, Issei says. He hung up. Everyone in the room heard what he said. So he's out drinking? He didn't even let us know, Rias said. Now we're with Issei. Who was it? Akeno just asking where I am. She really is like a sister at times. Ari's ears pointed straight up when Azazel said she, but went back down since he finished his sentence. So, who's Akano? Ari says. None of your concern, Fox, Grafey replied. I was only asking Ari's queen. Jeez, Ari thought in her head. Alright, let's go. So, Ari, do not cause trouble, understand? Srzek says. Yes, sir, Ari replied. At least this guy's cool, Ari said in her own head. Rosvisa binds Ari in special chains. Just before the vines disappear, her tail's bound as well. We should cover her eyes, Issei says. I agree. She blindfolds the fox. They teleport to Kyoto and greeted by Lady Yakuza. Welcome, everyone, Yakuza says. They bow in respect after she bowed to them. None of them need to bow. None of you need to bow. You're all above me, Yakuza says. It's mutual respect, Lady Yakuza. How could we not bow to you after you agreed to help us, Srzek says. You're very kind, Lord Lucifer. Now, is she one that you told me about? Azazel? Yakuza says. Yes, Lady Yakuza, Azazel replies. He brings her forward, still blindfolded and bound. Yakuza could tell right away that she's different from the other fox yokai, or if she's even one at all. What is your name, child? Yakuza says. My name is Ari, my lady. Ari could tell from the way Yakuza says that she is a woman with self-respect, dignity, and kindness. She could not help but speak respectfully. Yakuza removed her blindfold. Ari opened her eyes and saw the woman with blonde hair, an hourglass figure, a large chest, and 9 golden tails. You're like me, Ari says. I know every one of our kind due to our low numbers, but I don't know you. Where are you from? Yakuza says. I'm from Iona, my lady, Ari says. Iona? I've never heard of that before, Yakuza says. Nor have we. We think she's from another world, Azazel says. But how did you get your hollow powers? My what? Ari says. I think we need to tell her before she can tell us, Grafia replied. It seems that way. You and I don't know what hollows are. This is what a hollow is. Issei goes full hollow. Yakuza backed away. Issei, stop! Ari says. Issei heard her beg and ripped off the mask and it fell apart. What? It's under control. That's what I thought at first when I turned into that. I could only control it for so long, Ari says. Yakuza stepped forward. And I couldn't feel your presence at all. It's like you're a ghost, Yakuza said. It's a long story. You might want to sit down. Oh my god, I had to crack my back. It's killing me. Alright. I'll start. Issei says, it all started when we thought there was powerful stray in the familiar forest. Lord Lucifer here sent a few teams who volunteered, so Fine Night made it back, Issei said. Ari was saddened by this. We were sent to fight as a last resort, and we split up after we couldn't sense the stray. I flew up and I encountered a creature that looked like what turned into moments ago. The creature was a hollow and the strongest of its kind. That hollow is her. He gestured to Ari. Forgive me for being rude, Ari, but I won't insult Lady Yakuza by hiding any details, Issei said. No need to apologize. She deserves to know, Ari said. Issei was relieved but still feeling guilty. Thank you, Ari. I engaged in combat and it's a miracle. I survived. Her power is equal to an ultimate class devil in her hollow form. I managed to crack her mask and she was disorientated from that. I seized the opportunity to take her down. I nearly killed her, but once I saw her in her current form, I couldn't. You showed mercy? Yakuza says. That's not the only reason. I thought she was one of yours, so I didn't want to hurt her. Something else stopped me too, Issei says. So you do feel the connection, Ari says. I needed answers instead of blood on my hands. That's understandable. So what about hollows? So what are hollows? Yakuza says. Zazel explained what the hollows are and how strong they are. Sweet Mother Nature. But how did you turn into the Red Dragon Emperor? Yakuza says. We think after she bit me, the hollow within her merged me with the subnauticence of sorts. It took 50% of my body in exchange for my powers, Issei said. So your level is equal to that of hers, now without using the boosted gear. And you mean the red armor you had on? Ari said. Issei summoned his gauntlet. He's talking about this gauntlet and myself, Drake says. Well, that's new. Hi, Ari says. Greetings, Drake replies. Getting back on topic, as the hollow merged with me, it tried to take over even when it does not seem to have a conscience, Issei said. And yet it acts like it does, Rosvisa replied. Issei struggled with it, and the mask which he broke off merged with him. It started to manifest and more, but luckily Issei managed to control it during the match, Grafia said. I saw the match, it was very unexpected. Now it's your turn, Ari. You know what hollows are, so what is your story? Well, it's clear I'm from a world called Olena. We have all kinds of beings as well there. Powerful, dangerous, spiritual, human, etc. I've been around for over a century in my world, and that's the cause of my ability. I'm not proud of it. I can take in a person's essence, or life force as you call it. It's an ability unique to me as far as I know, Ari says. Are there others of your kind in your world, Rias says. I tried looking for one but found none. I traveled everywhere. It led me to believe that I am the last of my kind, but in this world, it seems, Arya said, her smile was very good, fake, but her sad eyes gave it away. Issei felt a burning in his chest. And as to how I turned into a hollow, it was during a battle I didn't sense. The hollow hiding in dust and smoke, it bit me. I fought it and killed it. It was weak, not even close to below average class devil. Its ability to hide its presence was the only thing that gave it the element of surprise. After a while, I was starting to turn into one. As I said, there are many kind of beings in my world. The inner hollow would take away my essence. I tried to rid myself of it, but nothing worked. During the battle, which I was forced to take part in, the adrenaline, fear, and anger caused the hollow to take over and consume the essence of my enemies. It grew so strong until he cast me out. He's like a keeper of souls, Ari said. You're talking about the skeletal figure with green flames, right? So you did see in my memories, Ari said. All except for Azazel looked at them back and forward. I still want to know what that's about, Issei said. As do we, Yakuza says. After Issei bested me in our fight, She began to blush. We felt a connection, Issei says, so you admit it. But I'm not sure if it's real. Issei says, what? Ari replies, forgive me. But we don't know if it's real or it's a trick. Issei says, but it's not. Ari replied, she saw how he was hurting. He wants it to be real, but after what happened with Rainier and Rias, he's too afraid. He can feel his chest burn a little more. After the hollow merged, it left me only 8 years to live, Issei says. Ari and Yakuza locked eyes with them wide eyes. Konako tried using her sage arts, but it didn't work. The hollow absorbed it. The hollow absorbed it and started to manifest. I can't risk losing control or letting whatever little time left be pointless, Issei says. Everyone will sit there in silence. After a few seconds, forgive me. I got emotional for a moment. Things have been rough to say the least. I haven't been myself lately, Issei says. Yakuza figured out that there's more to it than when he saw everyone's dull eyes, but Sir Zax was angry. Slight but noticeable amount of aura was in him. I have an idea. Ari can stay with us and I'll keep an eye on her. She'll fit right in with us, Yakuza says. We can't let you bear the task of watching her all the time. We'll take turns, Azazel says. Very well. I'll take first watch and teach her about our world. If she tries anything, then my guards and I will handle it, Yakuza says. We thank you for your aid. If there's anything we can do, return, then please don't hesitate to ask, Sir Zax says. Thank you for your offer, Yakuza replied. Also, Issei has been promoted to high class. Issei was slightly embarrassed, as that came out of nowhere. Well, that's no surprise considering his feats. Congratulations, Issei. Yakuza says, thank you, Issei replied. It's a record. He beat Riser, Kokaville, fought Loki. Azazel says, the hero faction. Yakuza replied, and now Syra Org, and all while being a low-class devil. This all happened in a few months, Azazel says. How am I still alive? I don't know. Issei says, who are the names you mentioned? Ari said. Each of them is a strong opponent, especially Loki. He's a Norse god. Ari looks at Issei. You fought a god? My other half is really strong. Why do you call me that? Issei says. It's hard to explain. I just feel complete when I'm around you, Ari says. Issei knows what she's talking about. He feels it too, but doesn't know if it's real. It's too soon to tell. He didn't have a response. Yakuza starts. Why don't we discuss partnership among devils, as yokai? We can teach our hero our way, and we can learn from her. Issei and Rasvaisa, you didn't get to join Kyoto the last time because of the hero faction, so now is a good chance. Shouldn't we help in any way we can, Rasvaisa says. Say no, say no, say no, say no, Rasvaisa says. We can handle it. You two are young and should enjoy yourselves. Kiona will be happy to see you, Yakuza says. I did promise that I would visit her, Issei replied. Then go. She'll be happy you two could use a break. As you wish, Lady Yakuza. You'll be back for me, right? Ari says. Issei looked at her. Yes, Issei said. And Rasvaisa bowed and left. So what happened to him prior to the hollow incident? His emotional state is flux. Yakuza says, I notice his disdain for his team except for her. He has a great deal of anger towards a woman with red hair, Ari says. Sir Zax and Grafia, we can trust Lady Yakuza, but I'm not sure about Ari here. She might use it against him. She won't, Yakuza says. How can you be so sure? Because she loves him. This connection she is very real, and it's something all us yokai have. Once we see our soulmate, a connection is made, and it cannot be undone. Am I right? Ari. Ari was happy that someone knows it. Yes, my lady, I'm happy that you believe me, Ari does, but does he? So what happened to him? He didn't have the same smile he usually has, Yakuza says. I'll tell you, Sir Zex replies. Sir Zex tells them the story of Rias and the others hurting him, how some of them knew that he was a target, let him and Azia die just to use him, how he felt she eventually fell for him, how he was confessing his feelings but she interrupted because in her point of view, he wasn't doing it right, how Rias said something she couldn't have, and then everything else. From buying knives nearly ending his life, being in a coma, drinking, then hollow incidents, the atmosphere in the room became very intense. Blue flames lit the tail's ends that belonged to Yakuza. It was swirling around her. Ari's hair turned dark red, her tails turned jet black, and eyes glowed violet. The restraints on her began to break. They all bound her using the most powerful spells, which she restrained once more. She hurt my mate. They hurt him. I will punish them, Ari says. This is your first and only warning, Sir Zex says. Ari calmed down as she felt not only his power, but the powers of everyone else as well. She changed back to her usual form. But he's hurting inside. They need to be punished, Ari says. Believe me, I know how you feel. I want to punish for my sister for what she has done to Issei. But Issei didn't want me to. He's being the bigger person, and even if I did punish her, could it compare to seeing the one you're in love with hate you with every fiber of their being, Sir Zex says. Ari made the mistake of imagining Issei hated her and nearly burst into tears. She took a deep breath and calmed herself. No, there's nothing worse. I wouldn't blame him if I ever hurt him, Ari says. Your reaction is genuine. There's our proof to the bond, Yakuza says, and he doesn't believe it. Because he's afraid he'll get hurt again so soon. He needs time, but he doesn't have much time of that either, Gravius said. Just 8 years. Compared to the time I've spent with those I've lost, it's a lifetime, Ari says. Well, that got dark, Azazel replied. Well, how about we all start teaching you? I could teach you about our kind. Hopefully you'll pick up on the natural energy to live longer instead of people. Is such a thing possible, Ari says? Yes, that's what we do. Can Issei learn it too? Afraid not, my dear. Only us yokai can do it. I see, Ari says. We'll figure out something. So, Ari, since you know that the gods are, do you know about angels, devils, fallen angels, and dragons? I know of the dragons and gods, but nothing of everything else you mentioned. We'll teach you about not only the different species, but places, sacred gears, history, etc., Zazel says. Shall we begin? I never liked school, but this world is very interesting, Ari says to herself. Now we're with Issei and Rosvaisa. So I noticed that she was wearing your jacket, which you said was destroyed, Rosvaisa says. After I made her turn back into that form you saw her in, she was in her birthday suit, Issei said. He said with a blush. So you put your jacket on her? Now that makes sense. Yeah, my knife was in my jacket. So you gave her a knife which you bought by accident. Speaking of buying, didn't you want to go shopping? After we meet Kyono? Sure, I did ruin your suit last time, so we're here to make it my treat, Issei says. You already got me the little stiletto blades. I can't ask that of you. I insist. Ugh, okay, fine, Rosvaisa says. Issei puts his hands in his pocket once he felt relaxed. He felt something like a card. He pulled it out, and it was a credit card wrapped in paper. He saw writing on the paper and started to read it. Note, since you're a high-class devil and legally an adult, this belongs to you. This card is linked to your profits made from the Grab and Dragon show. Use it to see fit, but please don't buy booze or drugs. It's all we ask, Sir Zex says. Didn't even notice him put it in my pocket, Issei said. And that is the end of Chapter 19. Chapter 20. Repent. Alright, Chapter 20, Repent. Let's continue. Issei and Rosvaisa were enjoying their shopping spree. They decided to take a break from the small local cafe. They ordered 3 cups of coffee, 1 for Issei, 1 for Rosvaisa, and the 3rd for Drake. Drake and Rosvaisa had their fill, but Issei was silent and just stared at his coffee. It was getting cold. You've been really quiet. Yen, for your thoughts, Rosvaisa said. Do you think Ari is lying? Issei replied. Not at all. Her body language was like nothing that of a liar's. You're thinking about the connection, aren't you? Rosvaisa says. Yeah, I'm being cautious around her. What if it's another ploy to use me? What if she, Issei says. Issei, stop tormenting yourself. Just relax, Rosvaisa says. I don't know if I can, Issei replied. You need a vacation, a long one. You can travel the world, see what's out there, and relax. I did that in all 9 realms, Rosvaisa says. Is that how you kept your sanity when you worked for Odin? It took all the beautiful places in all 9 realms to help me stay sane enough to endure his antics, Rosvaisa said. And I thought Issei's perverted antics struck my nerves. Odin should learn about how to chill. The frost giants must help, Drake says to himself. Well, now that I'm high-class devil, Sir Zex gave me his card. He shows her the card. Is it yours? Yeah, it's the cash I made from the show. How much did you make? No clue. Grafia told me that there's an account, but I said that I can access it when I turn 20 or high class, which ever came first. Issei says, this is your MasterCard. You can withdraw from any ATM, bank, or in the human world and in the underworld. Hard to get one of these, Rosvisa says. Really? Cool. Maybe we can use it to thank Lady Yakuza for her help, Issei says. And I thought you might buy more knives. That's already on my bucket list, Issei says. What else do you have on the list? Rent a car, drive it along open roads in Norway, stay in a cabin, and watch the Naruto barrels. I always wanted to do that. Sound therapeutic, Rosvisa says. If you want to join me, then let me know. Are you asking me out? Sorry, but no. Not a date, but as friends. Alright, then I'm in as long as you know who doesn't bother us. Issei's eyes turned yellow when his claws emerged. She better not if she knows what's good for her. He calmed himself. His eyes turned down, his claws retracted. It's getting late. Let's go Kikyono and check on Ari. Issei suddenly started to feel angry and was burning up. It was becoming too much. He bit his arm hard enough to draw blood. Only then did the anger fade away. He stopped biting his arm and took a deep breath. Rosvisa looked at him with worry. Luckily, no one was around to see that. She cast a small healing spell to heal his bite marks. What the hell was that? Rosvisa said. It was Ari. I felt her anger and it was strong. We need to get back right away. He finishes his coffee and in seconds it pays. Grab my arm, Issei says. She does as he says. He manifests the mask and uses hollow speed to appear right within where the five were. Issei was about to rip the door off, fearing that she was hurt by the others, and he heard everyone talking in a calm, civilized manner. He took a deep breath and knocked as the mask disappeared. Come in, Yakuza says. He opens the door and sees that all is well. Is everything all right? But of course, why do you ask? I felt bloodlust coming for her. He referred to Artie. No need to worry, Yakuza says. How could I not? If any of you got hurt, then Issei says, we appreciate your concern, but it's under control. We were just sharing our stories. Issei's eyes widened. He looked at Yakuza and Ari. Sorry you had to endure that, the Red Dragon Emperor. Yakuza says, thank you, but I'll get over it. Hopefully, Issei says. Now I understand why you're afraid. I'm sorry, Ari says. I was hoping to keep that part of my life private. Issei says she needed to know to fully understand the situation. In hindsight, we should have asked for your permission. Grafia says no need. I trust the 4 people in this room with my life. Issei says Ari knew that she's not among those he trusts. It hurt a bit. She knows why he doesn't trust her after hearing a story. Now I know why you're cautious around me. I'm sorry for putting you through more than you have already suffered. I'll wait. Ari says wait for what? For you to trust me. But thank you. I'm sorry for everyone disturbing the meeting. I'll leave now, Issei says. He walks away, running his hands through his hair. Rosvisa just stood there looking at him with concern. If I may ask, the connection between him and Ari real? He got really angry moments ago, Rosvisa says. As did Ari, as she was about told the history with Rias. The bond is very real. Perhaps it may be the only real thing that can mend his broken heart, but he needs to see that for himself, Yakuza says. He needs to see someone about this, Rosvisa replies, or to have a talk with Rias if she's willing to listen. But that was easier said than done, and it's risky, as Hazel said. Because he's still in love with her, Ari says? I'm afraid so. But Ari, he doesn't want to be, Grafia said. I should have never what happened to end the marriage. I should have looked for other ways to stop it. I blame myself, Zerzek says. You did what you thought was right. It was a clever trick, and the council couldn't force the marriage once Riser was beaten, Grafia said. I saw how happy they were together, so I never thought about this happening, Zerzek says. Ari was silent. Ari watched Issei walk off into the distance through the open door. Her heart was telling her to go after him and help him, but she and everyone else knows that he needs to heal his heart his own way. Yakuza asked Rosvisa to stay and let Issei have some alone time. He looked around for Kyono but didn't find her, so he went home. He went to his room, picked up some clean clothes, and went to the bathroom and started to bath. This feels nice. Rosvisa must have stayed behind, Issei says. After he got dressed and exited the bathroom, he laid on his bed and pulled out his phone. He started to look up different parts of Norway. Hey Drake, do you want to go to Wales? Issei said. Are you serious? Drake says. Yeah. Shouldn't I at least see a place for my partner as the symbol on the flag? Issei says. Sure, but don't eat the food. One of my past hosts is Welsh, and what he ate was gross, Drake says. I don't even want to ask what he ate, but he was still slightly cautious. Animal organs with stuffed more organs. I'm going to be sick. Issei's decided to pack some stuff for his vacation. It was getting late, which means everyone in his home was except for Rosvisa. His parents were walking by when they saw the lights in his room were on. They knocked. Issei? Hey, Mom. Welcome back, son. How are you feeling after the game? Girl said, thanks. I feel fine. How are you two doing? We're worried about you. Issei was questioning things. Issei, we know what Rias did. What do you want to do? Do you still see her as your daughter? Issei says. They looked at each other. They did still see her as their own daughter, but after hearing how she put their son through so much, they wanted her gone. But then again, she was full of remorse and begged them for forgiveness. They all did. They don't want anyone to get hurt anymore. Yes, we don't know if we're in the right or wrong for still caring about her. I can't blame you. I'm conflicted too. I'm still in love with her, but at the same time, I don't want to be. I don't want to be hurt anyone either. Issei says his father noticed that his pet Suke. Are you leaving? Goro said. Yeah, I'm going on vacation. I need to get away from everything for a while. I might visit Wales or Norway. Where your friend Drake is their symbol, right? Miki said. Issei summoned the gear. Indeed, it'll be a nice change for everyone, Drake says. Hey mom, dad, do you know about the show I'm in? Yes. Who knew my son was so popular among so many? Miki says. Well, I recently got access to the Prophet, so if you want to travel the world, anything at all, call me. Just how much did you make from such a short time? Enough to make Bill Gates pass out. The underworld economy is very inflated compared to the human world for many reasons. Whoa, Miki says. I'm going to finish packing. You guys want to get dinner in a restaurant? My treat. We can't enjoy it unless you're happy. Issei, take your time to heal, and if you want to talk to someone, then we'll be right there. We won't force you. Issei hugged his parents. Thank you. I don't know how long it'll be, but I'll call. He lets go. I'm going to say goodbye to the others. Oh, and I'm taking my knife collection with me. He packed his knife collection, too. He went to the others who were in the kitchen. They saw him enter. Issei, you're back. Hey, guys. How's it going? Fine. Just wish you could celebrate together. What's stopping you? You weren't here to join us. Well, I'm here for now, so let's celebrate. Issei says, for now, yeah, I'm going on vacation for a while. Rias was immediately on guard. You just got back. Did something happen? I just need time alone. I did what I promised. Now I don't know what to do, so I'm going to travel, Issei says. But before that, can we celebrate your promotion to a high-class devil? You guys know about that? And the 8 years you have left. That's one of the reasons I'm traveling. I want to see the world, and if I'm lucky, maybe I can see Asgard and the other realms, as the Asgardians call it, Issei says. Rias stood up from the chair. She walked over to Issei and hugged him tightly. Rias, Issei says. He says softly but lovingly. How long will you be gone? She asked in a low voice. Not sure. It could be a while. Good thing summer vacation started. Issei said, just come back to us soon, okay? We will miss you and want to spend as much time as we can with you. She then whispers in his ears, but as much as the two of us can. I'll see what I can do, Issei replies. She lets go and looks at him in disbelief. He sounded like he didn't want to spend time with them or her. Issei, is there something else? Someone you love? Rias says. Hey, Gasper. Keep training and become stronger. I'm proud of you and how you faced your opponents without fear during the game. Konako, when you meet Lady Yakuza in Kyoto one day, learn sage magic either from her or anyone there. You pushed yourself that day and your sage was a bit unstable. Azia, just be yourself. The same goes for the rest of you. Irina, we need to talk. Alone. Issei says. Sure, Irina replied. The two leave the kitchen and sit in the training field. Rias just watched him walk away after ignoring her question. The others didn't make eye contact. So what's up? Issei pulls out a great feather. I found this. You're falling. Irina looked down. Why? Because I hurt you that day, and maybe because you're what? I'm falling for you like Rias did. This just got a whole lot more difficult. What did? Irina says. Irina, I'm sorry I cannot reciprocate your feelings. Because you're in love with Rias, it's okay. It's not. I feel like for having to say this. Irina, you have to let me go. Issei says, what are you asking? Let go of your feelings for me. We both know that you'll fall, Issei says. Irina says, I don't care as long as we're together, but I do care. All of heaven will care. Irina, you're Michael's ace. He chose you. You're a great friend and teammate. We have devils, a Nekoshota, a half-fallen, half-devil. And devils in this team, it's only fitting that an angel would join this crazy team. You're that angel, and we're happy that beyond words for that. You blessed us, so please continue to do so. Us devils don't really get much as others. Protect the people. Protect as many as you can. Be open-minded woman you are. You can't risk losing that if you're with me. I won't hurt you or St. Michael. I'm sorry, but let me go. Please. Irina was holding back tears. She spread her wings. They were gray. Some of the feathers fell off. I'm no longer the one you were falling for, and you know that, Issei says. He slowly turned himself into a hollow to show her that he might lose control. She might have to do whatever it takes to stop him. She needs to stop falling for him. I'm sorry, Irina says. She closed her eyes and screamed at the top of her lungs. Her wings became golden. Back and emerged another pair of golden wings. The air around them felt sincere. She stopped screaming and took a deep breath. She opened her eyes and saw Issei smiling. A flash of light appeared by their side. It was Michael. Irina, are you alright? Michael says. Irina saw He saw Irina crying a little with her 4 golden wings. He hugs her, and she cried on his shoulder. Issei changed back to normal. He looks at who is still smiling at her. Issei, Michael says. She'll be okay, Lord Michael. She's your ace after all. Irina took a deep breath and calmed herself. She lets go of Michael. Forgive me for hurting you, Issei. Irina says, there's nothing to forgive, but I hope you can forgive me. Right now, I seek your guidance. He puts his hand on his face. As soon as he moved, the mask appeared. Michael was bewildered at the sight. He couldn't feel Issei's presence at all. He did seconds ago. You might want to take a seat. I'll get something to eat, Issei says. He changed back to his usual self and teleported to the kitchen. He returned seconds later with a tray of food and drinks. Your speed is increasing, thanks. Well, let's get started. I want to tell you while I'm able to. He started telling both of them about everything that happened, starting from the day, the club room, his feelings about everything about everyone, the hollow, and even Ari. Now you know. She's Susie you're connected to. Yes. I don't know if it's real or not. She's not from this world, so I don't know if it's a trick. And also the reason why you couldn't return Irina's feelings, Michael said. Even if Ari wasn't here, I always feared that heaven might lose an angel because of me. She can do more if she didn't fall for me. Or because she and the angels devils can't be together. I know that. I don't care if I'm the villain, Issei says. It hurts when I see kind souls suffer, so I shall grant your request for guidance. Issei, your anger is understandable. You wish to not harm, but you wish to be happy with Rias, yet you do not. She broke your heart, and this aura you spoke of is on your mind and heart, Michael says. Yes, and I'm afraid. What do I do? Issei, this is your path. You must decide who you want to be with. Take time to decide. Rushing it will only hurt you more. Get to know Ari and learn each other, and talk to Rias when you're ready. You must ask yourself if you can forgive her and love once again, or love someone else. Only you can choose that, Michael says. Lord Michael, thank you, and I have one last request. Yes, Michael said. Get on both knees and their eyes wide. Irina, Lord Michael, I repent, Issei says. What? Michael says. Forgive me, I have sinned. I repent. I regret everything. Letting out the sin of lust possesses my whole life. I regret saying cruel things to you when you tried to help me, Irina. I know that I'm a devil and I can't follow the light, but I can't help but beg for forgiveness. I renounce my perverse nature, Issei says. His voice started to break. I'm sorry. I shall offer up my life as penance. He felt Irina and Michael's hands on his shoulder. It's all right now, my child. I truly sense that you seek redemption, Michael says. In the name of the Trinity, you are absolved of your sins. Amen, Irina said. Issei didn't feel a headache, but in fact he felt peace. He shed tears as he missed the feeling. Thank you. I can offer my power to aid you any time of need. We shall take you up on that offer, Issei Hyodo. Take care, Michael said. He took Irina. I'm truly proud of you both of you. See you soon, Michael said. He leaves. Issei stands up and hugs Irina. Thank you so much. Happy to help, Issei. Go and see the world. Yeah. And we felt it too, your connection to her. There's definitely something connecting you two. Just wish I knew if it was real or fake. And that is what Issei said. And that was the end of chapter 20. That is where we're going to stop for now, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're just kind of chilling, my man. Yeah, no, I mean, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. So yeah, thank you guys for all your support. I hope another part comes after this very soon. I can't exactly tell you when. My channel members will probably know by then, but I couldn't give you an estimated date for anything really right now, because by the time this video comes out, it's probably going to be the 19th or the 18th of August, and well, God knows what's going to happen then. So, thank you guys so much for your support. I can't thank you enough. Once again, Ampopowski, I think that's the first channel I'm going to hit 100,000 subscribers on, which is crazy to think about. It's like kind of like a dream come true, really, you know. It took a while, you know. It's kind of crazy. Like, it was pretty hard for me to connect the dots. But anyway, thank you so much for the support. Ladies and gentlemen, my Balance Breakers Juggernaut Drive members, my Patreon members, everybody in general, hit the like button, man. And without any further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD, out.